Great. Welcome back, everyone, from your lovely break. Hope it was wonderful to mingle with everyone. Okay, great. So welcome to part 2 of today's wonderful series of events. My name is Felicia Castaneda. I work for HF&H Consultants. I'm also the co-chair of the NCRA DEI committee. So I am very excited to kick us off with our next session. Our first speaker is Caroline Cotto. Caroline is the co-founder and COO of Renewal Mill and board president of the Upcycled Food Association. Renewal Mill is a next generation ingredients company that's reducing food waste by upcycling the byproducts of food manufacturing into high quality ingredients and products. The vision of both Renewal Mill and the Upcycled Food Association is to create a new circular economy of food that closes the loop in today's current supply chain, keeps valuable nutrition from going to waste, and reduces our impact on the environment. Caroline was included among Forbes magazine's 30 under 30 honorees in the food and drink field for 2022. So please welcome Caroline.
Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for having me. So today I'm here wearing 2 hats, both as co-founder of Renewal Mill and as board president of the Upcycled Food Association, which is a new trade association that's growing the upcycled food economy. So we'll get into that in a bit. But we have to kind of start at the basics of, before we can get into upcycling, what is the root of the problem here, which is food waste. So globally, about 30% of food is wasted, which is about 1 billion tons and $1 trillion worth of food. And according to Project Drawdown, reducing food waste is one of the single greatest solutions to global warming, to keep global warming at less than 2 degrees. This food waste is happening at every part of the food supply chain. So it's the ugly produce left on fields, it's the billions of pounds of byproducts at food manufacturing facilities that are thrown away, it's the food that goes unsold at grocery stores and restaurants, and even in our own kitchens. And today we're going to be kind of talking about the byproduct problem through the lens of my company, Renewal Mill. So this is my co-founder, Claire Schlemme. She founded Boston's first organic juice company to bring healthy organic produce to the inner city of Boston, and was frankly appalled at the mountain of fruit and vegetable pulp that she was ending up with at the end of every day that she could not use. She then had a fortuitous conversation with the owner of one of the largest tofu companies in the country, based here in Oakland, Cotto Foods. And the CEO there, Min, was like, "You think you make a lot of pulp in your tiny juicing business? You know, I'm making tons and tons of pulp waste every week at my tofu facility." Because essentially when you make tofu, you're basically juicing soybeans, which you siphon off the liquid, that becomes tofu, and you're left over with this nutritious pulp called okara. And this okara was either going to feed animals if he was lucky, and at worst, going to landfill. So we knew there had to be a better way to keep all of this valuable nutrition in the supply chain. So Renewal Mill was born, and what we do is we co-locate technology to capture this pulp and turn it into, through dehydration and milling, a high fiber, high protein, gluten-free flour. And we realized that this process was scalable across different byproduct streams. So things like the pulp left over from making oat milk, or the sunflower seed meal left over from making cold-pressed sunflower oil, we can turn all of these into ingredients, which can then be sold to different companies to create consumer-facing products like tortillas, chips, brownie mix, cookies, even baby food. And this work has real impact. So for every pound of okara flour that we're getting from the soybean pulp, if we compare it to wheat flour, it's saving 410 gallons of water, preventing almost 14 pounds of carbon emissions, and preventing about 5.5 pounds of food waste from ending up in landfill. And we're not the only company doing this. There are hundreds of companies at this point mining the food system for places where nutrition is being lost, in things like whey and turning it into sparkling beverages, fresh cut vegetable remnants, turning it into broth, avocado seeds that are being turned into functional beverages, spent grain from beer brewing that's being turned into pasta, and many more examples. So if we zoom out a little bit and look at the EPA food recovery hierarchy, the best thing we can do for food waste is to prevent from wasting food in the first place. And then the next best thing is to feed people and animals, and all the way down to composting. And the worst thing that can happen for food is for it to end up in landfill. So when we move anything up this pyramid from the bottom towards the top, this is upcycling. And with Renewal Mill, we're taking product from landfill and animal feed and bringing it to human food consumption. So in 2020, the Upcycled Food Association created the first formal definition of upcycled food, which is that it uses ingredients that would have otherwise not gone to human consumption, are procured and produced using verifiable supply chains, and that have a positive impact on the environment. And this really, in practice, is putting the power back into the hands of consumers to help fight climate change with their dollar. And the reception has been really, really great. So upcycled food in the last 18 months has gone from a relatively unknown consumer concept to a trending concept in the consumer packaged good world. Upcycled food was named a top 10 trend by Whole Foods for 2021 and for Kroger, by Kroger for 2022, and a number of different other outlets. And interestingly, when they surveyed consumers during the pandemic of what environmental and social causes they were paying most attention to or more attention to than in 2019, they found that people were paying the most attention to food waste. But food waste was the only sort of environmental cause that didn't have a formal certification in the market. So in June of last year, the Upcycled Food Association, which has grown from 9 to over 200 members in the last 18 months, released the first of its kind upcycled certification. So now products can be certified upcycled the way that they're certified organic or certified non-GMO. And just in 9 months since launching the certification program, we've certified almost 200 products, and they're projected to prevent over 788 million pounds of food waste this year alone, which is super exciting. To qualify for upcycled certification, the product has to contain either 10% upcycled material or more, or it has to divert a certain threshold of food waste over a certain period of time, so in a year period. You also have to report your Scope 1 and Scope 2 greenhouse gas emissions with hopes and plans to expand that to Scope 3 as well. And what's really exciting is that not only are consumers sort of growing awareness of this trend, but large retailers who have sort of mass market consumers are bought in. So this product is actually just launched yesterday at Kroger. They've leaned into creating a fully certified upcycled product that's also carbon neutral, 100% recyclable pouch, and plant-based. So really bringing this to the mainstream. Research is showing that consumers are sort of excited and more likely to purchase upcycled food and look favorably upon grocery stores and other outlets that also prioritize upcycled food. So early research is showing that slightly more likelihood to purchase upcycled food through the logo, and that consumers are associating this certification with environmental sustainability, food waste solutions, and really kind of bringing it home that they can do their part to help fight food waste and help fight climate change. I think also the potential for scale is really exciting because this movement to date has been driven largely by small brands like ours that are kind of working person by person to educate consumers, but sort of large companies like Del Monte, Mondelez, Dole have also leaned in and are creating certified products with huge potentials for impact. So like Del Monte certified a product this year that is already preventing more than 25 million pounds of food waste from ending up in landfill. And to end, I just want to kind of scale it back out to the big picture of why upcycled food is important and why the real goal of it is to feed more people more sustainably. So every year we waste about 90 billion meals worth of food that we let go unsold or that ends up in landfill, which is roughly 2% of US GDP. And by 2050, there's going to be 10 billion people in the world. So feeding them is not a matter of growing more food, but using the food that we already grow more efficiently so that we can offer farmers more value for the food that they already grow, and that we can be conscious of the resources that we're using that go into growing the food that we are already producing to make sure that we can have a sustainable environment for the next generation. So thank you, and I'm happy to take questions.
Thank you. Awesome. Thank you so much. And not only are you saving our world, but you're also very timely. So questions, anyone from the
Yeah.
audience?
So I have a question. How much does it cost for a business to get certified and how often do they have to get recertified?
Yeah, so the certification cost is scaled according to level of sales and number of products. So it varies slightly, but it's very in line with like organic certification. And sorry, what the second part of your question? Oh, how often? It's right now, it's an annual certification process.
Great. And I think we should have one question from the virtual space.
We have a question from Sue Beats Atkinson. What locations is Upcycled Food located? How do we help align more of this? Thank you.
Yeah, you should definitely check out upcycledfoods.org. There's a list of all of the certified brands, and you can also kind of check where all of them are located. But the goal is for Upcycled Food to be in every aisle of every grocery store. So if you walk into Whole Foods, you'll already see lots of upcycled products across the grocery store.
Great. And I think we've got time for one more question. I see a hand over here.
Hi, thanks. I see that you say your pouches are 100% recyclable. I was wondering where they can be recycled.
Yeah, so the Kroger product, it's number 4 recyclable. And then we also work with 30% post-consumer recycled plastic pouches and ones that can be returned to in-store recycling.
Thank you very much, Caroline. Wonderful.